students, good morning all of you. Today we are going to see a very important point from the molecular spectroscopy. So, the spectral lines in which the width and intensity, these are the two main points. So, there are some factors which affects the width of the spectral lines, and there are some factors which affects the intensity of the spectral lines. So here are the factors which affects the width of the spectral lines, and these factors are collision broadening, Doppler broadening, and the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So let us see how the collision broadening, Doppler broadening, and the Heisenberg uncertainty affects the width of spectral line. So we will start with the first point, collision broadening. So as we know, in the liquid phase, in the gaseous phase, in the solid phase, there are so many number of atoms and the molecules are present. So, consider initially the atoms and molecules from the liquid phase and from the gaseous phase. So, as we know, the molecule or the atom or the particle are in a continuous motion and they collide frequently with each other in the liquid and in the gas. So, due to that collisions, it leads to the deformation of the particle and hence perturbed to some extent, and that's why there is a change in energies of the outer shell electrons will be observed in case of the liquids and gases. So when we consider the ultraviolet or the visible region, the transitions mainly occurs from the valence shell electron or the outer electronic shells. So equally, vibrational and the rotational spectra are also get broadened since the collisions interferes with these motions too. So simply, what is meant by the collision broadening? We have taken the system liquid and the gases. So liquid and gas contains so many number of atoms and the molecules. These molecules undergo the collision because they are in a continuous motion, and due to that collisions, it leads to the deformation of the particles and there is some change in the energies. And we know that in the ultraviolet or in the visible region, the electrons which participates in the transition is from the outermost shell or from the valence shell. That's why obviously collision affects on the width of the spectral line and spectra will get broadened. Same way in the vibrational spectroscopy or in the rotational spectroscopy, we observe the spectra and that spectra will get broadened due to the collisions because here the continuous motion also interferes. So this is the collision broadening. Then when we consider the solid, so in case of the solid, the motion of the particles are limited and less random in direction because we know solid has a fixed structure and that's why each and every particle has a fixed position. So its motions are restricted in case of the solid, and somewhat there is a random in direction or the motions are random when there is a particle like structure of the solid is present. So that solid phase spectra are oftenly sharp but show evidence of the interactions by splitting them. So example of such type of spectra are the NMR spectra. We got a spectra but we can get a splitted lines, okay, like a doublet, triplet, quartet, etc. So for the solid we can get the splitted lines due to the interactions. Okay, the interactions are not much greater or the collisions are not larger but obviously there are some kind of the interactions are present in the solid. That's why we can get a fine spectra, but lines are splitted lines. And as compared to gas, as compared to liquid, and as compared to solid, actually which spectra is more finer? So when we consider the liquid, obviously liquid in which the intermolecular force of attraction is greater than the gases, so that's why collisions will be greater in the liquid as compared to gas. So when concentration is less, when interactions are less, obviously we can get a fine spectra. So for the gases we can get a fine spectra or the sharper lines which are observed in the spectrum as compared to the liquids. So this is the comparison of the solid, liquid and gases. In case of solids we can get a splitted line spectra, then in case of the liquids we will get the broader peak due to the collisions of the particles or atoms, and in case of the gas there is a less intermolecular force of attraction, less interactions, that's why we will get the sharper peaks. So all this is about the collision broadening. Now our next point of today's discussion is the Doppler broadening. So again we are going to consider here the liquid and the gaseous phase. Same way we know the liquid in which the interactions are more as compared to gases, and the motion of the particles causes their absorption and the emission frequencies shows a Doppler shift. So consider a liquid and the gaseous molecules. So when there is a larger concentration, what actually happens? Each and every molecule tries to go from ground state to the excited state after absorption of a energy. So simply, when there is a greater population, obviously we will get the noise like spectrum, or we will get a broader spectrum. So simply in case of the liquid, there is a greater intermolecular force of attraction. The molecule collides with each other in higher amount. That's why the energies of some molecules will get lowered, and some molecules are of the higher energy. So each and every molecule tries to go to the excited state. That's why there is a change in the emitted light. So simply that emitted light is of the lower frequency or it is of a greater frequency. So we can say that it is a Doppler shift. Since the motion is random in a given sample, shifts to both higher and the lower frequencies occur, and hence spectral line is broadened. So in case of the liquids, we can get the more broadened lines, and in case of the liquids we can get a continuum spectra or a continuous spectra due to the more interactions. But when we consider the gas, in case of the gas we can say that obviously molecules are dispersed, there is a no much greater force of attraction in between them. That's why the collision broadening is less pronounced in case of the gaseous phase molecules. And Doppler effect oftenly determines the natural width. So all this is about the Doppler effect. Simply Doppler effect is related to the emitted light frequencies, and that frequency will be shifted to either high or low value. Then our next point of today's discussion is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So as we know, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we cannot determine simultaneously position and momentum of a particle. But here we have considered an isolated system, because isolated system does not exchanges energy, does not exchanges matter, everything will be constant. And we will consider a stationary molecule or atom, and it is at the ground state. So simply, if a system exists an energy state for a limited time dt seconds, as we know the molecule is at rest at a ground state, when we provide energy to that state in the form of a photoelectric radiations or in the form of a photons, we provide the energy to the ground state atoms, this atom's absorbs energy goes to the excited state and it stays there for some time, and that time will be delta t seconds. Okay, it's not d, it's delta. So delta t, that is a change in time which is in seconds. Then the energy of that state will be uncertain to an extent, that will be delta E, where we can write a equation for the uncertainty of the energy and uncertainty in the time. So we cannot measure exactly the time and the energy when the molecule is in the excited state, because the lifetime of the molecule in the excited state is very less. So at one time we can measure time or we can measure the energy. So here is uncertainty. That's why equation is given delta E into delta T is equal to h upon 2 pi. Here h is a Planck's constant and pi is a constant. So h value is 6.626 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule seconds and divided by 2 pi. Pi value is 3.14. So when we divide by 2 pi, the final value will be 10 raised to minus 34 joule seconds. So uncertainty in the energy into uncertainty into time is equal to 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. That will be the equation. So now we have considered the lower energy state or the ground state of a system which is sharply defined, since system will remain in the state for an infinite time. Okay, until we provide any kind of the energy, all molecules remain at the rest at the ground state. So simply we have taken the lowest energy state of the system which is sharply defined, and the system is at the rest, or we can say that the system will remain in that state for an infinite time interval. So we will see the change in time is equal to infinity and the uncertainty in energy is equal to obviously infinity when system is at rest. So the lifetime of an excited state, for example, is usually only about 10 raised to minus 8 seconds. So we can say that molecule stays at the excited state for the 10 raised to minus 8 seconds. Then we have to calculate the delta E value, that is the uncertainty in the energy. So let's write the equation here. I have written here delta E into delta T is equal to h upon 2 pi. So we can put the value of delta T here, which is equal to 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, and just shift that value to the right side. So we know the value of h upon 2 pi is equal to 10 raised to minus 34 joule seconds, and just shifted this value to the right side, it will be divided to it. So 10 raised to minus 34 joule second divided by 10 raised to minus 8 second. Second get cancelled, and final value of energy you will get, it is a 10 raised to minus 26 joules. Okay, so unit of energy is joule. Here delta E is the uncertainty in energy and delta T is the uncertainty in time. So from this we can also calculate the uncertainty in the frequency also. Okay, we know the uncertainty in the energy, and energy is associated with the frequency, is associated with the wavelength. Okay, so we know the general equation to calculate energy is the E is equal to h nu. So just rearrange the equation and put the delta in that equation. So we will get the equation delta E is equal to h into delta V, because h is a constant, so we cannot write as a delta. So delta E is equal to delta V into h simply, so or h into delta V. So we can rearrange the equation to get the value of the frequency. So here delta V is the uncertainty in the frequency. Okay, so delta V is equal to h upon 2 pi into h into dt. So just I have written value of the delta E here. Okay, so here is the delta E value. Delta E is equal to, just transfer this dt to the right side, it will be h upon 2 pi into dt. So when we put all this in this equation, it will become as like this. delta V is equal to h upon in bracket 2 pi into dt, and this h as it is written here. So h will get cancelled, and delta V, or the uncertainty in the frequency, it will be h is cancelled, so we remove from here. So delta V will become h upon 2 pi into dt. Okay, that will be our equation of uncertainty in the frequency, and it will be around 10 raised to plus 8 hertz when the time is given around 10 raised to minus 8 seconds in the excited state. So unit of the frequency is hertz. So I think you all got the concept. Here the factors affecting the width of the spectral lines, and these factors are here: collision broadening, Doppler broadening, and the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.